Hello, hello, hello.
Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for listening to
Vaughn Radio.
This is Vaughn Radio, and you're listening to the show with no name. Liftoff time. 10,
9,
8, 7, 6. Come on.
6, 5,
Do it with me, folks.
4, 3,
Come on.
2,
Come on.
1.
We got it.
Ignition. Liftoff.
Let's go. Let's go.
30 minutes after the hour.
All systems go.
Get Ready.
There we go.
Hold on to your hats. Strap on your seatbelt. Fasten your seatbelts. Hold on to your hats. Get ready
For the ride of your life.
the show
With no
It's
name.
No Name time.
On Vaughn Radio.
It's a show with no name.
Let's go. All right, amigos. Welcome one, welcome all. Coming to you live from the dog days of summer. I hope you are in a better place than I am. Okay, I love being here, but I mean, it would be great if I could do the show from inside the swimming pool. That would be awesome. That would be, what's the word I'm looking for? That would be, electric. Imagine that, doing the show from the swimming pool. Oh, I would love it. Or maybe if I just get a bucket of water. Un cubo de agua, a bucket of water, and I just put my feet in it. I soak them. Baño Maria, you call it? Mary's bath? I soak my feet in water. That's a good idea. I think I'm going to do that in the second part of the show. I got a bucket of ice cold water, and I'm going to let it soak. And also, we can get from that word, we can get the adjective empapado, empapated, que no. Soaked. So piensas, si dejas algo en baño María, se empapa. It gets soaked. When you soak something. Anybody want a nice bowl of lentils? Lentejas? What? Lentils in the middle of summer? Well, haven't you heard that philosophy there that if you have something hot in the summer, your body temperature will cool down. So you're supposed to drink tea and hot things. I get it. It makes sense. But it's really tough for me to be sitting there in 40-degree weather with a bowl of hot soup or lentils or maybe some kind of stew. Do you know what this word means? This is from the latest book. This book is the shit. Stew. You remember Stewie from Padre de Familia? Just imagine Stewie making a stew. Making a stew. And what is a stew? Un guiso. So if you can just imagine that baby, Stewie, making a stew, you'll always remember it. And that's straight from This Book Is the Shit. First things first, how are the machines doing? You good? Yeah, good. All right, cool. Let's take a little picture. Quick question, though. ¿Cómo se dice emparejar en inglés?
No sé. ¿To emparejate?
No, emparejate. Usas Tinder, ¿no?
Sí.
Pues, ¿qué pasa cuando te gusta una chica y hacéis pareja? ¿Hacéis un
Match.
Eso es. Y vamos un paso más allá. Un matchmaker, uno que hace parejas, es Celestina.
Ah, claro, ¿qué sentido tiene?
¿Ves? Lo sabías, pero no sabías que lo sabías.
Así es, This Book is the Shit, el nuevo libro de Alberto Alonso
Y Damián Moya.
Así da gusto aprender.
That's what I'm talking about. That's right, amigos. It's This Book is the Shit. And as I always tell you guys, it's so much more than just a book, because a book is pages and maybe some drawings and things like that. And we've got all of that. But we've also got QR codes where you can practice some of the biggest pronunciation challenges known to Spanish speakers who are learning English, such as page 1 of the student manual. Page 1 of the Vaughan Student Manual. Do you know what it is? This and these. Do you know how many high-level students write them wrong or mispronounce them? Let's give a listen to this little clip with this and these. This is straight from my latest book with Damián Moya. This book is the shit. Not this book. ¿Ves la diferencia? This book is the shit. These books are the shit. Damián, hay un error súper común y ¿sabes algo? Es página 1 en el manual del alumno de Vaughan.
¿Ah, sí?
Página 1. Y tengo alumnos que son como tú, un nivel 8, 8,5, ¿no? De 10, y aún así no me distinguen entre this y these.
Ya, es
Y
que
eso
es difícil.
es básico. No me digas todas las expresiones del mundo, todos los phrasal verbs, sino controlas el esto y estos.
Claro.
So, vamos a mirarlos y luego miramos. Siempre un buen truco es cuando encontramos una palabra, buscamos palabras que riman con ello. Y buscamos, y ya,
Vale.
si podemos pronunciarlo ahí, lo podemos pronunciar en todos sus, ¿no? So,
Okay.
this.
This.
This is my, no this, no i,
No es this.
es this.
This.
Es como si dices a alguien, ¿qué haces? This.
This.
Cortito, this.
Vale, mira, this.
Sacamos la lengua, this.
Vale.
This is my finger. These.
These.
Ahora sí que es i latina y es el sonido z. El otro es this, s.
This.
Esta es these. O sea, hay dos diferencias.
Vale.
Hay el sonido vocal, this, these, i, y this, serpiente, and these, abeja.
Vale.
¿Ok?
Vale,
So vamos a ver
vamos con
la
ello.
mejor forma, como te digo, como lo hicimos nosotros de pequeño, palabras que riman. This.
Kiss.
Muy bien. Vosotros en casa, kiss.
Vale.
Ok, ¿qué hace una serpiente?
Hiss.
Hiss. Menos i
Hiss.
latina, hiss.
Hiss.
This, kiss, hiss.
Vale. Hiss. Vale.
Señorita?
Miss.
Excuse me, miss?
Excuse me, miss.
Can I have a kiss?
Can I have a kiss?
Miss?
Miss.
Because this is bliss, la dicha.
This is bliss.
Toma, this is bliss. Cuesta.
This is bliss.
Cuesta, pero es la diferencia entre pronunciar bien las palabras básicas
Es un poco menos i, un poquito más e.
y el sonido final es zzz,
y,
right?
Vale.
So, bliss. What about alguien de Suiza?
Swiss.
They're Swiss. Mi reloj
Swiss.
es Swiss.
Vale.
Swiss.
Swiss.
Ok, y el otro, que es el plural, these.
Ujú.
These.
These.
¿Cómo se dice llaves?
Keys.
Muy bien, rima. These keys are mine.
Es que los españoles pensamos que cuando estáis en clase decís keys, luego en la vida real no vais a decir keys.
No, pero lo digo para que lo oigas, luego lo cortas.
Ahora
Keys.
dilo de normal.
Keys.
Keys.
Pero extiendo la Z para que oigas, que no es ese.
Pero sí que nota que es
Keys.
keys, no es keys.
Acaba con
Es
z.
keys.
Keys.
Hay un rebotito en la...
Sí, keys.
Keys.
Vale. Deberías hacer el sonido ahí de abeja, right?
Keys.
Con facilidad, with ease.
With ease.
It's easy.
It's easy.
Right? Eso es otro. Ease, these. Enfermedad.
Illness, no, aquí no.
Disease.
Ah, disease.
También,
Vale,
pero
vale,
no
vale.
rima.
Vale, disease.
Disease.
Disease. Vale.
Ver en tercera persona. Él ve muchas cosas.
He sees.
Yeah. He
He
sees these keys. He sees these keys.
Y aquí sí que es una I. Es sees.
Sí, sí. En la segunda, en el plural, es I con
Vale.
el sonido z,
Ok.
right? Abejas.
Bees.
¿Cómo dices? ¿Ves estas abejas?
Can you see these bees?
Can you see these bees? Y pulgas.
Fleas.
Fleas, como el bajista de los
Ajá.
Chili Peppers.
Ah.
Fleas.
Fleas.
Y como siempre, añade tus ejemplos hasta que lo tengas perfecto. Pero esto es básico.
Hay que aprendérselo.
There you go, folks. Page 1 of the Vaughn Student Manual. And if you don't have that, you should pick it up. That is one of the greatest materials. Yeah, we've got this book is the shit and this book is the milk. But if you really want to go over the basics, the bare bones from start to finish, you've got to go over to the Vaughn Tienda and pick up a copy of the Student Manual. All right, folks, time for your first challenge, our pop quiz. Come on. Pop quiz. Let's go. Pop quiz. Yes. Pop quiz. Yeah. Pop quiz. You know it, baby. Yeah. Pop quiz. Pop quiz. Let's go. Pop quiz. Pop quiz. Pop quiz. Pop quiz. Pop quiz. All right, folks. Prepare for takeoff, and we are airborne. Well, folks, since we are smack dab in the middle of the summer holidays, I figured we could look at some traveling stuff. Today, we're going to look at stuff from the book Essential English. Let's pronounce that together. Essential English. It is great. It's got downloadable audio, and you can pick it up at the Vaughn Tienda or wherever fine books are sold. All right, let's see what we've got. Remember, if you'd like to participate in the show, you can join us live every day. Next week, I'm going on holiday, so this is the last week of live shows for a while. But don't miss me. I'll miss you. I won't miss working and thinking a lot. But I've got a lot of stuff to do. As many of you know, we moved to a new home, so lots to be done. My word of the day, my word of the year, to put together, to assemble, montar. Oh yeah. The other day I put something together. It was a coffee table. And I was almost finished. It took me about 2 or 3 hours. I'm pretty useless with that stuff, you know. I follow the instructions, but it's not my cup of tea. But you got to do it. You got to do it. So I put it together, and I'm just about to put on the final piece, and I'm like, wait a second. Where do those screws go? ¿Dónde van esos tornillos? Where do they go? They don't go here because there are no holes. And I realized I put a piece on backwards, al revés. But it's a piece that I put on at the very beginning. So I had to, montar y desmontar. I put it together. I almost finished putting it together. And then I had to take it apart. So that's my life. That's my life. That's my summer. But that doesn't mean you guys aren't going to be out there traveling by plane, by train. Some of you might be taking a car trip as well. Right? Well, if you'd like to join me here as we take a look at some translations, this is page 105. 105 in Essential English. El inglés imprescindible para situaciones cotidianas. All right. Let's see if you know these very common translations. I'm going to give you a lot of them. So let's see if you can keep up. And I want you guys to focus on clear pronunciation. As always, I want to hear these. I want to hear them perfectly. All right. So more important than writing them down today, I want you to say them aloud. That's the most important thing every day. El avión está preparado para el despegue. Okay? Okay, despegue. This is takeoff. Wait a second. No, that's not. Oh, you have to match them up. Oh, my God. Oh, wait. All right. This is difficult here. All right. You know what? I see what they did here. They made it a game. Let me explain. The way the translations work, it's not the English one, the Spanish one, and then the English one. The way this works is there are 15 translations on one side of the page and then 15 on the other side of the page. And you have to match them up, which I've got to be honest, that's quite interesting. Okay, here we go. No debes dejar tu asiento. No debes dejar tu asiento. Now, I imagine some of you are thinking you shouldn't leave your seat, or you shouldn't get up. You can also say you mustn't. The only thing is mustn't sounds a lot stronger, you know? So you shouldn't is like a suggestion. You shouldn't do that. Shouldn't smoke. Shouldn't drink a lot of alcohol. Right? You shouldn't swear. Decir palabrotas. I've got a mosquito here that wants to bug me. Ah, mira, bug. I hecho un double trouble. A mosquito that wants to bug me. So you mustn't leave your seat. And there's another one that usually students mix up when it comes to mind. Leave and live. Leave, marcharse, irse, and live, vivir. All right, let's see. Debo poner mi equipaje de mano en el compartimiento superior. All right. I must put, o vamos a hacerlo pregunta. Must I put my hand luggage? Y vamos a pronunciar el luggage. Luggage rima con bridge. Puente. Luggage. Baggage. Bridge. Fridge. They all sound the same. Village. So, I must put my hand luggage in the overhead compartment. Tiene sentido. The overhead compartment. Okay? And I would say, which is also fine too, carry-on. I must put my carry-on. Why? Because you carry it on board with you. Okay, the next one. Debes cerrar la mesa plegable. Okay? Debes cerrar la mesa plegable. You must close. Remember, they're not suggesting. On an airplane, I think there's a lot of must. You must close. Do you know this one? Porque sé que sabéis las alas, the wings, stuff like that. The tray table. Tray is bandeja, y table, mesa. Kind of makes sense. So the tray table, you call it the foldable table. Plegable, foldable. All right. Here's the next one. Él no debe quitarse el cinturón de seguridad. He mustn't. We're not suggesting. We're pretty strict about this. We don't joke around in the airline industry. Como si yo fuera parte de la industria. Well, I know a lot about it. All right, do you know it? Are you doing these aloud with me? I hope so. He mustn't take off his seatbelt. Okay? His seatbelt. And how do we say the opposite now that we're on it? Take off your seatbelt, put it on. Put on your seatbelt. Or we know it from the beginning of the show, fasten your seatbelt. Okay. Debemos escuchar a la tripulación. This is a true statement. Debemos, it's not we should. Again, it's not a suggestion. We must. Y fíjate que es una palabra además más contundente. Must. We must. ¿No? Es fuerte. Tiene ese, it's like plosive a bit there. We must listen to. No me pongas listen sin to. That means you're not listening to me. Okay? So we must listen to. Apréndete como una cosa sola. Listen to. We must listen to the cabin crew. You can say the crew. That's fine. You want to be more specific? The cabin crew. All right. Let's see. A couple more. Those of you who will be traveling by plane, who will be flying, hopefully you'll know these over here. All right. The next one. ¿Debemos apagar nuestros móviles? ¿Debemos? No es una sugerencia. Must we? Or, que casi es lo mismo que must is, do we have to? Do we have to turn off our phones? To turn off. The British say switch off. Switch off the phone. And one of my favorite ones, I can't find it here right now, but it's a funny one, is the word taxi. It's a word you all know, right? Taxi. You say the same thing in Spanish. But it's got another meaning. It could be a double trouble. And taxi, well, let's talk about the airport. You have the runway, right? And the runway is where you take off and land. Donde despegas y aterrizas. You take off and you land on the runway. You park at the gates. The gates are on the apron or the tarmac. La zona que no es la pista. And what you do, all of those, you call them, I think, movimientos in Spanish. All those movements from pushback, cuando sales de tu puerta, from pushback all the way to arriving at the runway, those are called taxiing, those movements to taxi. And I tell a funny story. I told it on the airports episode of FYI about my wife. It was so funny. I was in Almeria, I think, and I was just coming home, and my brother-in-law was going to pick me up. Today's opposite day, so let's look at the opposite. Pick up, drop off. He actually dropped me off, too. Nice brother-in-law. Thanks, Marcos. So, you know, I like to keep my wife posted. I tell her every little thing that's happening. So, okay, honey, they just closed the doors. Okay, they just... and I know she gets the messages and she's kind of like, really? Seriously? But instead of telling her I just landed, I waited till we were off the runway. And we were on the taxiway. Muy lógico esto. And I wrote to her and I said, honey, I'm taxiing now. And she freaked out. She was like, what? What are you talking about? My brother's on his way. Mi hermano está de camino. What do you mean you're taxiing? And I said, here's where I have to do some explaining. And I told her, taxiing son los movimientos del avión. No es que voy a coger un taxi. Hey, it's a good way to remember it. And I'm sure my wife, Diana, she'll never make that mistake or mix up those two different meanings again. It happened also with crib. When I met my wife, she heard me say, oh, we're going to go over to Ricky's crib. We're just going to chill at the crib tonight. I think you say Kelly in Spanish. And then I told her, I said, oh, someone's going to give us a crib. A friend of mine donated a crib. And she was in shock. She goes, I'm sorry. What are you on? Guess fumao. What are you on? What are you, high? And I said, what's the problem? I thought we needed one. She goes, you have a friend who's going to give us a house? And I'm like, a little misunderstanding here. And that misunderstanding was, claro, the word crib is una forma de decir tu casa, tu keli, as you say. But also a crib is una cuna, where you put a baby to sleep in a crib. So it's funny how sometimes we discover words we know have many meanings. And we have a section called Double Trouble where we tackle those words. But right now, it's time for our first commercial break. We'll be right back with tons more Show with No Name. So, stick around. Hey, amigos, welcome back. Welcome back to the Show with No Name on Vaughn Radio. Oh, yeah. Exciting, sweaty. Bueno, a little heat won't stop us. Un poco de calor no nos va a frenar a nosotros. No way. Like the idiomatic expression goes, if you can't stand the heat, stay out of the kitchen. And the heat es presión. O sea, si esto no es para todos. If you can't stand the heat, stay out of the kitchen. I know you guys can take the heat. Oh, I know you can. You do it every day in, day out. My Show with No Namers, my FYIers, I'm so proud of each and every one of you. Keep up the great work. And you can put your English to the test. All the different things you're learning here and with Fitz right before this show. Well, you can put them to the test with Ximena and Nacho. Because every day you've got a special treat with those two. Right after the Show with No Name. Oh, yeah. All right, folks, let's rock and roll into the Say What soundbite. Say what? What? All right, amigos, I hope you're ready. I don't think this one's going to be too tough. It'll be a little bit challenging, but nothing you can't handle. We looked at a lot of different ways to say aguantar, to take, to handle, to stand. Wow. I'm surprised my brain is working with this heat. Overload. Oh my goodness. All right, well, amigos, I know your brains are working because I can see you all participating with us. And I'm going to urge you to participate in all the different sections and always aloud. So, yeah, write it down. Yeah, write it on a piece of paper, put it in the group. But you better, más te vale, you'd better, please say the vocabulary aloud. I'm begging you. I'm begging. Estoy rogando. All right, here's the Say What soundbite. Let's give it a listen.
I take everything like that with a pinch of salt, really, because you can't say who's best. The nice thing about guitar playing is that everybody's different. You can't really rank people. You know, of course, I got my favorites too. That's going to be the next question, I know.
All right, there you go, my amigos. Sounds like a pretty stressed out person. No, I'm joking. In fact, sounds cool, calm, and collect. Sounds like somebody who's pretty chilled, as we say. All right, well, let me give it to you a second time, and then we can discuss it. Is everybody ready? All right, here's your Say What soundbite for the second time.
I take everything like that with a pinch of salt, really, because you can't say who's best. The nice thing about guitar playing is that everybody's different. You can't really rank people. You know, of course, I got my favorites too. That's going to be the next question, I know.
All right, amigos. Well, there's one thing, whether you know where the person is from or not, we know the person is not from anywhere near where I'm from, because the way we speak, the way that person speaks, and the way I speak, we're talking about apples and oranges here, right? Estamos comparando cosas que no se pueden comparar. Apples and oranges. It sounds like we're from different planets. All right, well, while you guys are mulling it over, dándole unas vueltas, let's kick off today's Spelling Bee.
Spelling Bee. Spelling Bee. Spelling Bee. Spelling Bee. Spelling Bee.
All right, amigos. It is our Spelling Bee here on the show with no name. And as always, this is probably, I don't want to say it. I hate saying that something is tough, because then, you know, I'm maybe making a bigger deal out of it than it is, right? Haciendo que sea gran cosa, when really it's something that I think everybody here is going to be able to hack. Toma. Another way to say aguantar. Oh my goodness. I'm not doing this on purpose, guys. It's just coming out. All right, well, let's do this. Let me give you today's Spelling Bee words. I'm going to do the first round, as I always do, at lightning speed. And I hope you guys will be able to keep up, to follow along. But you know what? I think I want a little music in the background. Don't worry, guys. I'll put it on very lightly, but I feel like I need a little music. What do you guys think? Let's get some music going. There it is. And here we go. Oh, I didn't tell you this. We're going to do numbers as well. Uh-oh. So I'm going to give you 6 proper nouns. And each one is going to be accompanied by a number. I don't know if that's a French accent or not. All right, here we go. The first word is Gare space DU space NORD. The second, and the number 49,721,477. The second one is SAINT hyphen LAZARE. And that's 45,666,162. The third one, GARE space DE space LYON. And that's 34,971,365. The fourth one is MONTPARNASSE hyphen BIENVENUE. And that number is 31,453,903. The fifth one, Mon ami, GARE space DE space L apostrophe EST. And that's 20,018,847. And the last one is REPUBLIQUE. And the number there, 16,670,353. Now, that's a lot of information. Let's see if you guys were able to figure it out. It is a lot of information, but I know you guys will get it. You can take the heat. You can hack it. All right. Let's see. Anybody over here? Anybody get it on the first go? All right. Yeah. Nice job, Jono. Awesome. Are you serious? I honestly don't think I could get it on the first go. Not because it's summer and my brain is melting, but I'm just not that fast. It doesn't matter what language you do it in. All right. Well, if you haven't figured it out, these are 6 of the busiest subway stations in Gay Paris. And may I remind you, there's an episode of FYI on the Eiffel Tower. There are many amazing engineering marvels to gaze upon. Perhaps none are as striking as this awe-inspiring Parisian pillar. This significant structure symbolizes a city, a state, and so much more to the French and foreigners alike. Ooh la la! We'll ogle over the ever-iconic Eiffel Tower on this week's episode of FYI. Welcome to For Your Info.
Inglés.
You got it. All right, there it is, folks. FYI, the Eiffel Tower episode. And one of the cool things is, just by listening to the intro of each FYI, you're going to find what you call in Spanish palabrones, $1 million words, words that you need to know. Awesome adjectives. All right. Is everybody ready? We are going to Paris today. We're going to ride the subway. We call it the subway in New York. They call it the métro. I'm going to try and say it in my French. So today, in the year 1900, the first line of the Paris metro opened for operation. I tried my best. Remember also, when we say in English, when you're about to say a bad word or you've just said one, you say, pardon my French. Perdona por esa por la vulgaridad. Now, I'm sure the French don't like that expression, but I didn't come up with it. I didn't, don't, you're barking up the wrong tree, right? Okay, here we go, amigos. We're going to take a look again today at the busiest stations in the Paris metro, and we'll take a look at numbers, which I think from time to time it's good to review numbers. They are quite important. All right, the first one is GARE space DU space NORD. The passengers that went through there in the year 2012, yeah, they're old statistics, so I imagine more these days, but the idea is to practice numbers. And the passengers, 49,721,477. Okay? The second one, SAINT dash LAZARE. And the passengers that went through that station in 2012, 45,666,162. The third one, GARE space DE space LYON. And the passengers, 34,971,365 passengers. The fourth one, MONTPARNASSE hyphen BIENVENUE. And the passengers there, 31,453,903. Son números grandes, pero a eso vamos. I know you guys are superstars. The fifth one, GARE space DE space L apostrophe EST. And that is 20,018,847. And the last one is REPUBLIQUE. And the passengers that passed through that station in 2012, 16,670,353. And I see many more people are figuring it out. Great job. Excellent, guys. Wonderful job. I see your brains are working here in the summer. All right, well, Paris. Love it? Hate it? What do you think of this spectacular city? Well, I just told you my opinion. It's spectacular. It's gorgeous, right? If you got rid of the Parisians, life would be good, right? Oh, and the exorbitant prices. It's just, man, it's a ripoff. Un timo. So I guess Paris, like any major city, has its pros and cons. It's a romantic place. So romantic that I took my wife there. I surprised her. She thought it was a trip for her birthday and for Valentine's Day because they fall close to each other. She suspected, but I threw her off guard. And so finally, I proposed. It was over there, over the river. We could see the Eiffel Tower in the background. It was really nice. It was a beautiful trip. And then we wanted to go celebrate at a nice place and have a nice glass of champagne. And we were reminded by the Parisians of the fact that we were just measly tourists, meros turistas, not worth their time. And I said, thanks for making it a special moment for us here. But then stuff like that makes you bond. No, I think the whole rest of the world agrees Parisians suck. Sorry, Parisians, until you prove otherwise. And I'm not saying French people. I know a lot of French people, and they're really nice people, and they hate Parisians. Hey, I guess that's what happens if you're paying expensive prices. Your neighborhoods are full of tourists every day. You get bitter. But you also can move to another city if you want. Or move out to the country. Le country. Le comptoir. Maybe you can go down to Toulouse, where Airbus is located. Or maybe down to Cabernet Sauvignon. Is that a region or no? Well, I know it's a French word. So Gare du Nord was our first one. And I've been to this station. I've been to many of these stations because I've been to Paris, I would say, a handful of times. Un puñado, you say puñado. Un puñado de veces. I've been there a handful of times. I know, you're saying, Alberto, you just complained about the city. No, I didn't. I complained about the Parisians and the prices, not about the city in itself. If we could get rid of the two P's, the Parisians and the prices, I think I would enjoy the city a lot more. And the first time I went there, I was on a shoestring budget. Do you know this? A shoestring budget is con poco presu, as you would say. I was like 20 something doing that typical backpacking trip around Europe. And I remember I used to get by on three or 4 euros a day. Yeah, I was broke as a joke. Sin blanca. I was broke. Yeah. But I had fun. And every morning I remember going to the local Ed, which is Dia here, the local supermarket. And I would get a loaf of bread. Remember, we don't say a bar, we say a loaf. Get some nice French bread, some baguette, if you will. And it was really cool. It was nice because I just remember sitting in some of the most amazing places, you know, and thinking to myself, I'm in Paris. I flew here for 7 euros with Ryanair, and I'm spending 3 or 4 euros a day. Well, wow. Now, the next times I went back, I was like, okay, well, you can go out to eat or go have a beer too, you know. But at that point, I think that's the whole idea. The expression I gave you is to go around on a shoestring budget. So I have walked all over Paris. I have taken most of their subway lines. I have gone out to, what is it called? Versailles, the palace out there. And I had a friend who lived in the suburbs of Paris. So I was familiar with some of the suburbs. And as you guys know, there's a special place in my heart for the French Alps, Los Alpes Franceses. I became a snowboarder there. That's where I cut my teeth. Buena expresión, apúntala. To cut your teeth es coger experiencia. So I think Paris, after all this talk, is a city that we love to hate. But we keep going back, and there's a reason it's the #1 tourist destination in the world, at least as a city. So Gare du Nord, obviously, the northern station, the northern terminal, and 49 million, acordaos, en inglés no empleamos una S, 49,721,477, voy a decirlo en español, 77. Remember, your punto es nuestro coma, vuestro coma es nuestro punto. So that's very, very important because you could change the number completely. The second one, and please forgive my French pronunciation or lack thereof, carencia de. The second one is Saint-Lazare. Saint-Lazare. Lazare. I think the E is silent. And that's a hyphenated word. It has a hyphen or a dash. Saint-Lazare. And the passengers that pass through there, 45,666,162. Ahora me cuesta en español. A ver. 45,666,162. 162. ¿Ves? No me ha salido ni una bien. I told you, numbers are tough, not just, even in your own language. That's not my forte, as you guys know. And the third one is Gare de Lyon. Gare de Lyon, which had 34,971,365 passengers. Now, Gare de Lyon is also a very special place for me and my wife. We went there to celebrate our anniversary, our engagement. I think commitment. It's a commitment, but our engagement. And it was a recommendation. It's a place called Le Train Bleu, el Tren Azul. And it's located, if you want to look it up right now, Google it. Put Le Train Bleu Restaurant, Paris. And it's located in the train station, and it literally looks like you're having lunch in the Louvre. It is a work of art. And the food was good. Obviously, it was costly. So, hey, look at that. Look at my progression in Paris, okay? Well, that night we had Chinese food. So we still go for the cheap stuff too. But, from eating sandwiches in a park, which I was happy doing that, looking at the Notre Dame, for example, or, looking at at the foot of the Eiffel Tower, having a baguette, right? A baguette with poulet, chicken, poulet. Is that how they say it? I think. ¿Ves? Coges algunas cositas there. You pick up different things along the way. But Gare de Lyon, it was just amazing. That place was a work of art. And it was funny because the maitre d', el maître, you say there's another French word there. The maitre d' was absolutely rude to my wife. And I didn't want to sit there and take it. So I came in and I said, "Oh, parlez-vous anglais, espagnol?" He's like, "Nah." And I was like, "Oh, that's a shame." I go, because in my city, New York, people speak a lot of languages. We're, polyglots. Because I know they know polyglot. I tried to use simple English because he was a moron. And he did. He understood English, just didn't feel like saying it. So, but I made him look like the idiot. He was trying to make me like, "You don't speak French." I'm like, well, it's funny because in my city, not a lot of people speak French, but normally people speak 2 or 3 languages. So can you just bring us to our table, please? We have a reservation. Like, I was kind of like, I don't actually want to talk to you. You understand? I didn't come here to talk to you. I came here to have lunch with my wife. So Paris, man. Oh, gotta love to hate Paris. Folks, we've got to go to a quick commercial break. We'll be right back with the second half of today's show with no name. So stick around. Hey, amigos, welcome back. Welcome back to the show with no name. The French version of the show. The show with no name. Voulez-vous vous coucher, allez boire, or whatever they say. Bonsoir, je ne sais quoi, ménage-toi. Valet, ballet, filet. Ah, oui. Welcome back, amigos. Welcome back to the second half of today's show with no name. We're learning, we're laughing, we're playing, we're interacting. And I want to thank you guys for always spreading the word. Thank you. Thank you. As you know, this is a free resource. Vaughn Radio is free. The only thing we ask is if you enjoy it, if you're learning with us, if people ask you, how the hell did you get so good at English? That's when you come out and you say, have you heard of Vaughn Radio? Have you heard of this crazy, wacky dude named Alberto Alonso? He's out of his mind. Está como una cabra. And you're right. That's right, amigos. Show with no name on Vaughn Radio. Here we are in the dead of summer. Smack dab in the middle of summer. It's always a great time to learn. I always tell my students that. The summer is probably the greatest time to learn. That's what I would say. All right, well, folks, it's time for Homophones on the show with no name.
Homophones on the show with no name. It's homophones time, cause homophones rhyme. They sound the same on the show with no name. The show with no name. Homophones on the show with no name. Cause homophones time, cause homophones rhyme. They sound the same on the show with no name. The show with no name. The show with homophones. Show with no name. That's right, amigos. It's homophones only on the show with no name. And here's where I'm going to give you guys 2 words. And I want to know, A, what the words are, and if they sound exactly the same. You know the drill. Vosotros sabéis por dónde van los tiros. You know the drill. You know how we do it. So, what I want to know is what these 2 words are and if they sound the same. And why did I just put a plane sound effect in there? Well, because the first word is a place where you park a plane. Now, it's a place where a plane can be parked if it's getting maintenance done, mantenimiento, right? A place where you park a plane, okay? And it's not a parking spot or the gate, que es la puerta. It's like a warehouse. It has to be a big building if it's going to fit a plane in it, okay? So the place where you park a plane indoors in a garage if it needs some maintenance or it needs a new paint job. And the second word is percha. Percha. And I'll never forget how I learned this word. I was moving into an apartment in La Latina with my friend Ricky. And he's bilingual as can be. And I remember I was trying to explain to him, or maybe it was his mother. I was trying to explain to somebody that I needed una percha, but I didn't know the word. And so I said, I was like, necesito eso de que usas para colgar la ropa. And she goes, and she said, oh, it's percha. And I said, oh, percha, got it. I never have to doubt that word again. I'll remember it, percha. So that's how it's funny. Sometimes if you don't know the word you're looking for, if you know a roundabout way to explain it, that's wonderful. Because you don't have to know every word. It's not about knowing mass amounts of vocabulary. It's great if you can. Sure, writers, good politicians, they have quite a mastery of the language. Normal people just use maybe 50 words. Think about it. Okay, see you later. Good night. Bye. That 50 words or expressions in a typical day. And especially since many of our days are routine. So if you go to the office, morning, folks, morning, see you later, folks. Who's going to lunch? You guys want to go to? It's like the same 5 sentences all around the world. All right, amigos? So the second word is percha, percha. And since we're talking about airports and hangares, well, I just want to remind you there's an FYI episode on airports. Most of us have found ourselves running through one of these busy hubs at one time or another. Whether you're rushing to catch a connecting flight or just to get home after a long, joyless journey, all of us have experienced this packed place where simply passing through is what most people do. Grab your suitcase and get ready to soar off to an exciting English enclave. We'll learn all about airports on this week's episode of FYI. Welcome to For Your Info.
Inglés.
You got it. That's right, folks. FYI, where you can learn about a different topic every week and keep your eyes peeled. Prestar atención and mantén los ojos abiertos because there's always a new episode dropping every Friday. And then you've got bonus episodes that are available to my community members. But if not, if you're very patient, and God bless you if you're that patient, you can wait and they come out. I've released a few in the last couple weeks of the summer. So hopefully you guys are listening to those bonus episodes and if you're going to listen to the bonus episode, listen to the first episode first, because they kind of go together. There's a certain order to it. As we say in English, there's a method to my madness. Hay un método a mis locuras. And also, before we go back to our homophones, what we need to do is listen to our Say What soundbite for the 3rd time. So please write down what you hear.
I take everything like that with a pinch of salt, really, because you can't say who's best. The nice thing about guitar playing is that everybody's different. You can't really rank people. Of course, I've got my favorites too. That's going to be the next question. I know.
All right, there we go, amigos. Definitely a British chap who speaks very clearly, and he's got kind of a nice, relaxing tone about him when he speaks. He's also well-spoken. He sounds like he knows how to speak well enough, right? Well-spoken, que usa sus palabras bien, sabe expresarse. He's well-spoken, okay? You may know who this person is. Te acabo de dar una pista. I said you may know who this person is. May know. You may know. So I just gave you a huge clue there. All right. What else do we have to do? Homophones. All right. Let's see. I've got a lot of people participating. Some people are saying yay. Others are saying nay. Oh, this is interesting here. All right. You know how we solve this? We flip a coin. No, es broma. Lanzamos una moneda. No, we don't flip a coin. We say the words, and then you tell me. The first word, a place where you park airplanes. Hangar. You say hangar. Se escribe igual. Oye. Hangar. 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 Okay, good. And the second word, una percha, que yo hubiese dicho un colgador, un cuelgador, I don't know, como me lo estoy inventando. Percha. That is hanger. So, si vamos a decir Maverick, el Tom Cruise en la película, I know, I'm obsessed with aviation, guys. You should know that by now. So I want you to picture the opening scene of the movie Maverick. Okay? Picture that scene. And there's a scene where he goes into un hangar y coge su chaqueta. He gets his leather jacket, his flight jacket, and he takes it off the percha. So it's a great way to have them. So let me tell you that story. So at the beginning of the movie Maverick, Tom Cruise's character, Pete Maverick, goes into a hangar and takes a jacket off a hanger. Do they sound the same? Absolutely. And that word hang, remember, it means so much more than just colgar. In fact, probably that's one of the least used meanings. Like in the United States, one of the most used meanings of the word hang is quedar. What were you doing this weekend? I was just hanging with my friends. Yeah, well, no, es que estabas colgando, estabas tirados con ellos, they're tranquis. Because also you can say, I'm just going to hang here, estar de relax, pasar tiempo, to hang out. It's, I think also another translation would be, me gusta quedar con mis amigos. I like to hang out with my friends, okay? And hang has many, many other meanings. But that one, I would say, is more used in the United States than colgar, unless maybe you're a tailor, un sastre. All right, let's also finish up our spelling bee over here. We were in Gay Paris, the city we love to hate, and we had just left the Gare de Lyon, where there's a very rude maître d' in Le Train Bleu. But he did not rain on our parade. No amargó nuestra fiesta. We got drunk on Spanish wine. That was the way I got back at him. I'm like, what good Spanish wines do you have? Yeah. So with the, you don't speak other languages? What are you, a monoglot? I made him look like, guy, come on, I don't have time for you. You're a simpleton. I never treat people like that. But he mistreated my wife. And I wasn't going to fight the guy either. In a fancy restaurant, I look like the crazy guy. And I am. You want to go crazy? I'll go crazy. No, I'm joking. All right, the next one is Montparnasse dash Bienvenue. I know that pronunciation is totally off. Montparnasse, another station that I've been to, an area, lovely area. 31,453,903 people go through that station every year. 31,453,903 pasajeros. The fifth one on our list is Gare de l'Est. Gare de l'Est. Hasta ahí llego. Estación, garaje, del Este. Nord, Est. See, you learn from signs everywhere. And how many passengers pass through Gare de l'Est? 20,018,847. Ahora lo digo bien. 20,018,847. En español, 20,018,847. And the last one is République. République. Oh, yes, République is a very, very important one right in the center of Paris. And République sees 16,670,353 passengers. So that is, in Spanish, ¿ves? Esto me cuesta cuando hacemos números. 16,670,353. Yeah! Great job to all of you, including me. Seriously. That was tough. That was really tough for me. But folks, it's time to move on to a more chill section. Más de tranqui. You guys want to hang out? Cool. Let's go hang out at the movies. Name that movie.
That's right. That's right. It's Name That Movie only on the show with no name. And let's take a look at today's Name That Movie and see if you guys recognize it. I just want to tell you this, though. I am giving you guys a lot of clues today. Muchísimas pistas. Tons of clues. I already gave you a clue as to what this movie is. All right. Is everybody ready? Here we go. Let me get some sound effects. More planes? I know my dad is on board. on board. Se apunta. Partidario. Okay, all right. Not that funny. Okay. I'm going to leave out. Voy a omitir un nombre aquí. Because if I tell you the name, I tell you everything. Okay? I'm going to actually leave out two proper nouns. Okay? Somebody's name and the name of an institution. Okay. After 30 years, this guy is still pushing the envelope as a top naval aviator, but must confront ghosts of his past when he leads the institution's elite graduates on a mission that demands the ultimate sacrifice from those chosen to fly it. Whoa. Sounds pretty intense. If I tell you the names, you're going to know it instantly. After 30 years, Maverick. Hola? Maverick? Well, that's the title of the movie. Great job, guys. It's Top Gun Maverick. Oh, man. Great movie. Have you guys seen this movie? I saw it twice in the theaters, and I want to go back and see it again. It was that good. Así de bueno. It reminded me of the old school blockbusters, man. All right, let's take a look at the synopsis. After 30 years, Maverick is still pushing the envelope. You can say envelope or envelope. And to push the envelope is expandir, to push the limits, right? To test the limits, to push the limits. We say to push the envelope. As a top naval aviator de la Marina, the Navy, a naval aviator, aviador, but must enfrentarse a ghosts of his past, espíritus o fantasmas de su pasado, when he leads Top Guns, que eso sí que es una escuela de verdad para elite pilots, when he leads, dirige o lleva Top Gun's elite graduates on a mission that demands the ultimate sacrifice, exige el sacrificio total, which is death, by the way. I'm not giving you a spoiler, but the ultimate sacrifice is your life. They could lose their lives. So the ultimate sacrifice from those chosen to fly it. Careful with choose. You don't know how many times I've heard people say, they said, as the third column, they said chosen. And I said, well, let's take a look at it. So it's choose, chose, chosen. So, see? No es eso. Dicen chosen. Be careful. Cambia ahí. So, choose, chose, chosen. ¿Cómo evitamos esto? How do we get around it? Simple. Pick, picked, picked. Toma. Es un verbo regular. So those picked to fly it. All right. And as you guys know, another thing that added to the realness of this was the fact that Tom Cruise wanted minimal green screen and CGI. So the aerial photography is real photography of the pilots, the actors, I should say, in the cockpits, in real flight sequences. And they all had to undergo, someterse a, they all had to undergo G-force training, right? Because I think they got up to, if I'm not mistaken, 4 or 5 Gs, more, maybe even 7 or 8 Gs. Esos fuerzas G. Translation. If you're at 2 Gs, your body weighs double. Pesa el doble. If you're at 4 Gs, your body
weighs 4 times as much. So, you know, when you're on like a ride and you're trying to lift yourself up and you can't, you're pinned down. Well, those are those forces over there. Okay. And you've got positive G's and negative G's. Think of a roller coaster. Positive G's push you into your seat, and negative G's lift you out of your seat. I love it. It's an easy explanation. All right. So yeah, you can see it really as somebody who is fed up with this whole CGI thing. I think it's great to use technology, but just like auto-tune, when people sing, that kind of electronic sound, they've overdone it. Se han pasado. 3 towns. No se dice 3 towns. And great movie, great follow-up. They made us wait a long time. Now, according to Miles Teller, he said the cast got to choose their own call signs, que les dejaron elegir su nombre de piloto. And he chose Rooster because Rooster was in the same family as Goose, Ganso, who's his dad. So I thought that was interesting. Oh, and 3 of the 6 actors who played the young pilots threw up. That's right, vomitaron every day when they were filming in the jet sequences. So that's pretty crazy. Let's take a look at the scene. The Almirante says, Maverick, 30 plus years of service. 30 plus más. Combat medals. Medallas de combate. Citations. A citation. No sé cómo se dice eso en español. Pero el internet sí que lo sabe. Yeah. Distinción militar. Okay. Citations. Only man to shoot down 3 enemy planes in the last 40 years. Okay, el único para derrumbar, tirar, shoot down, makes sense. 3 enemy planes in the last 40 years. And he's looking at the pages of his records. No? Su record, su ficha. And he says, distinguished, 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 yet you can't get a promotion. You won't retire, and despite your best efforts, you refuse to die. You should be at least a 2-star admiral by now, if not a senator, un senador. Yet here you are, Captain. Why is that? And Maverick answers, it's one of life's mysteries, sir. Maverick es inconforme, uno que no conforma, makes sense. Es uno de los misterios de la vida, señor. And the admiral says, this isn't a joke. Esto no es una broma. I asked you a question. And Maverick answers, I'm where I belong, sir. Estoy donde pertenezco, señor. And the admiral says, well, the Navy doesn't see it that way. La Marina no lo ve así. Not anymore. Ya no. And then there's a pause. No porque me acuerdo, porque vienen aquí en el guión. And he says, these planes you've been testing, Captain. And at this point, I won't give anything away, but he's a test pilot. These planes you've been testing, Captain, one day, sooner or later, tarde o temprano, they won't need pilots at all. No van a necesitar pilotos en absoluto. Pilots that need to sleep, dormir, eat, take a piss, hacer un mandado, mear, orinar. Pilots that disobey orders. Pilotos que no acatan sus órdenes, right? They disobey. Obey es acatar, disobey. Orders. All you did was buy some time for those men out there. Lo único que has hecho es comprarles un poco de tiempo. We say the same expression. And he says, these are great lines. The future is coming, and you're not in it. El futuro viene, pero tú no eres parte de ello. Tú no estás en ello. Folks, wrong one. That's the one. We're going to a quick commercial break. Our final commercial break. When we come back, we're going to talk about planes. No, I'm kidding. Maybe. I don't know.
Folks, we'll be right back with the fourth and final part of today's show. So, stick around.
Hey, amigos, welcome back. Welcome back to the show with no name on Vaughn Radio.
Welcome back to this, the fourth and final part of today's show with no name. Thank you so much for joining us every day, even these days in the dog days of summer when we're all sweating. And don't forget, the show with no name is just one of the many programs on Vaughn Radio. You got Ximena Holiday right after this show with Test Your English, followed by Rob and Andy and their antics, sus payasadas, on the lunchtime show. After that, you got Tosh Pasqua and her program Back to Basics. Then Jules Linares and Let's Get Random, followed by your daily history lesson with the one and only Guy Williams and Western Civilization. Then you've got the old school Dave Boys, keeping it real after all these years on his program, The Salad. And you can wrap up your day with the one and only Kyle Miller in his program, Drive Time. Don't forget to download our free app, and this way you can participate in all our different shows. Folks, it's time for Double Trouble.
Double trouble, baby. Yeah, you know what time it is. Give it up. Double trouble. I said double trouble. Double trouble. I said double trouble.
That's right, folks. Double trouble here on the show with no name. And I've got to tell you something. This one, it seems really easy, but don't let it fool you. There's something about it that's tricky. I can tell you that right now. The structure, so just be very, very careful here. you've been warned. O sea, avisado. Just because it's going to be, it seems simple on the surface, but it's a tough one. It is definitely a tough one. Okay, so here it is. Hacer peineta es lo peor. Hacer peineta o una peineta es lo peor. La única palabra que es parecida en toda la frase. So, hacer peineta, ¿no? Enseñar el dedo del medio, es lo peor. No hay nada peor. No, no es nada divertido. No es para mí, no es para nadie. All right, there's your double trouble. Also, I've got to give you guys the Say What soundbite. Here it is for the fourth and final time.
I take everything like that with a pinch of salt, really, because you can't say who's best. The nice thing about guitar playing is that everybody's different. You can't really rank people. You know, of course, I got my favorites too. That's going to be the next question. I know.
All right, there you go, folks. You may know who that is. You may. All right, well, it's got to be somebody that has something to do with the word may, because I keep being annoying and repeating the word may, que es un mes, el mes de mayo. I've heard people say May. Just be careful. May is the month, and also I may go, puede que vaya. And this is a structure I never hear non-native speakers use, and we use it all the time. A lot of times you can say, I will probably go. Pero ¿por qué quieres decir tantas sílabas? Why? When you could just say, I may go. Right? Alberto, are you going to come to my party this weekend? I may go. Puede que vaya. Right? It's just so easy because you don't have to move too many things around in the sentence, right? All right, my amigos. We'll see if somebody can figure out our Say What soundbite. Either way, we're going to solve that in just a moment. But right now, let's solve our double trouble. And you know what? I'm going to give you guys a little clue because, well, I like to do that. What do we hear? We hear maybe a brook in the background, un riachuelo, a stream or a brook. What else? Oh, birds, right? There are birds chirping. They're chirping, cheeping, or tweeting. There's 3 different ways to say piar. So what does this have to do with birds? Oh, it's got something to do with birds, all right. Also, to avoid mispronouncing the word bird, haz que la I sea una E en tu cabeza. Ahora di la palabra. Bird. No, es que es así de fácil decir, ok, esa palabra siempre digo beard, que es beard suena a barba. Bird. And all you have to do is listen to that song. Bird, 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 bird is the word. Bird, 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 and then bird is the word. Because it's interesting. La gente no suele decir word. They say word. Es una E. It's weird. English is weird. But that's why I like to stop and explain these things along the way so you guys can master these little nuances that really make all the difference. You know, these little details that really mark, you know, the higher level students from the lower level students, at least as far as speaking is concerned. So, hacer peineta es lo peor. So how do we say? Well, let's start with the end. Es lo peor. It's the worst. It sucks. It blows. It bites. ¿Quieres más formas de decir que no mola? Yeah, well, I got another one. It's for the birds. So if something is for the birds, es para los pájaros. No es algo que nadie quiera. It's for the birds. Let's see how they translate it here. I think it's algo que no vale, right? Que nadie quiere. For the birds. Here it is. For the birds. Para el bote de basura. Que no vale para nada. It's useless. It's worthless. It's for the birds. So no sirve de nada. Es lo peor. So hacer peineta. How would we say that one? We've got the second part. Flipping the bird is for the birds. That's right. Flipping the bird is for the birds. And you know what? I was a little bit worried. You guys got it. But I was a little bit worried because in Spanish, I know you use el presente. No, comer coco es bueno. We don't say eat coconut is good. Nosotros empleamos el gerundio. Eating coconut is good, right? Tomar cereales es importante. Have cereal is important? No. Having cereal is important. So just be careful because they don't match up. Como vimos la palabra match al principio del programa, they don't match up. No hacen juego. Okay? So flipping the bird is for the birds. And do you guys know where I learned this? This is gonna blow your mind a little bit over here. I learned this word in the movie Top Gun, the first one. Do you remember there's a scene where they come in contact with the enemy fighter? A fighter no, es un luchador, pero también es un caza. And it's the Russian MiG plane. And they come in contact with it, and they get close enough where they give him the finger and they take a picture of it. And I'll never forget that scene because they're being briefed, tienen como un briefing, and what happens is he says something, and how do you know what the MiG looks like? He goes, well, I was close enough. I saw it. I go, what do you mean you saw it? Well, I got close to it when we were doing our training, and I even flipped him the bird. And he goes, she says, you what? And that's where I learned, because I knew the middle finger, but I didn't know to flip somebody the bird. I was a young kid when the first Top Gun came out. And I remember learning, because then you see the picture of him going like this to the other pilot, to the enemy pilot. So interesting how sometimes we can even remember where we learn things from, right? I mean, I think it's key. You know, if you remember where you learned it, well, you'll remember it forever. I always think of that too in other examples with gullible. Do you know the word gullible? This is somebody who believes everything you tell them. And I remember that from Back to the Future, when there's like a recurring gag over there, and it goes, hey, McFly, your shoe's untied. That's what Biff says to him, the bully. And he goes, oh, you're so gullible, McFly. You're so gullible. Sure, I was a young kid. I didn't know what gullible is. And I remember, I could tell from the context. I remember looking at him, gullible. Okay, well, he believes everything. He's kind of foolish. And then I asked my mom anyway, because I'm a curious kid. I said, Mom, what is, after, not during the movie, I waited till after. I said, what is that thing he kept telling him? He's so gullible. And he said, he's naive. He's gullible. He falls for things. And you know what I said? I said, Mom, you could be a teacher. You know that? And I'll tell you something. I am not joking.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, what did the guy say when he walked into the bar? Ouch. Ouch. You get it? Ouch. He walked into the bar. You're joking.
That's right, amigos. You're joking, where we're going to take a look at some jokes right now, and we'll see if you guys get these jokes. As always, these jokes usually have a theme, and you know what today's theme is? Commencing satellite scan. We're going to space, amigos. That's right. We're going up to space. These jokes are going to be out of this world. Out of this world. Extraordinario. Fuera de este mundo. Okay. All right. All right, here's the jokes. For real. Ahora en serio. I'm not joking anymore. Oh, yes, I am joking. That's difficult. What did Mars say to Saturn? What did Mars say to Saturn? ¿Qué dijo Marte a Saturno? Is that how you say it? What did Mars say to Saturn? Easy. Give me a ring sometime. Give me a ring sometime. Do you get it? No? Give me a ring sometime? Is anybody going to pick that up? The phone's ringing. Give me a ring sometime. All right, I'll pick it up. I'll get it. All right, give me a ring sometime. Well, think about it. Planets have rings. Dame un anillo. Dame un aro. Same idea there, right? Give me a ring. Dame un toque. Give me a holler. Give me a shout. Give me a ring. There's different ways to say dame un toque. You knew this expression? I was telling you about Paris before. I gave my wife a ring. ¿Qué? ¿Le diste un toque? No. I gave my wife a ring. Un anillo. But are you sure you didn't give your wife a boxing ring? Un cuadrilátero? Yeah, I'm sure I didn't give my wife a boxing ring. All right, well, let's see another one here. How do you put a baby astronaut to sleep? Easy. You rock it. You rock it. Rocket, cohete, to rock, mecer. You rock it. No, you rock it. Well, how do you say mecedora? A rocking chair. A rocking chair. So it makes sense. And the expression, don't rock the boat. No creas problemas. No, no muevas el barco. Don't rock the boat. Mecer. So if you think you put a baby to sleep, you rock the baby to sleep. And the famous song, rock-a-bye baby on the treetop. When the wind blows, the cradle will rock. When the bough breaks, the cradle will fall. My daughter knows this one by heart. All right, I've got a couple more. Why did the astronauts' grades drop? ¿Por qué cayeron las notas de el astronauta? Why did his grades drop? Well, he kept spacing out in class. No. To space out, he's an astronaut. Space, he goes to space. Que ojo, no se dice the space, se dice space. He was in space. But to space out is to disconnect, to go to another planet, right? It happens to me all the time. I'm a space cadet. And that's when I start to space out, that's when I want you guys to tell me, Earth to Alberto, Tierra, Alberto. We say the same thing as you guys. All right, not the greatest joke. I know. But hey, if you didn't know that, also to space something out es poner espacio, sitio entre las cosas. So, as always, words with many meanings. All right, I've got one more for you. What did the astronaut order for lunch? What did the astronaut order for lunch? A satellite dish. No, a satellite dish. I know you know the word satellite, but what is a satellite dish? You call it antena parabólica. We call it a satellite dish. ¿Por qué? Porque parece un plato, doesn't it? A satellite dish. Plato de satélite, antena parabólica. Wow, it's a logical word. Satellite dish, but also your favorite dish is tu plato favorito. All right. The jokes weren't necessarily out of this world, but we're going to a birthday celebration. So put on your party hats, because here we go. Oh, yeah, that's right, folks. It's famous birthdays only on the show with no name. And here's where we take a look at some famous people who are celebrating a birthday today. Remember, if you have a birthday and you don't tell us, I'm going to be pretty upset with you. You got to tell us this stuff so we can embarrass you in front of your peers. Tus iguales. All right, let's see. The first person celebrating a birthday was born in 1952. He died in 1990. He was an American guitarist and songwriter, and he was one of the founding members of Lynyrd Skynyrd. ¿Sabíais cómo se pronuncia ese grupo americano? Lynyrd Skynyrd. You know the band? Well, I must be traveling on, dear, because I'm as free as a bird now. Excellent, man. Oh, God, I love that song. Free Bird. Hey, we were talking about birds before. And so, yeah, they got Free Bird, That Smell, Gimme 3 Steps. I mean, if you guys haven't heard Lynyrd Skynyrd, they're amazing, right? And let's see what else. Lynyrd. I know I'm missing some of their best songs here. Let me just check it out. Lynyrd Skynyrd, songs. Songs. Okay, let's try that again. Songs. Free Bird. Excellent song. Well, probably their signature song. Some recommendations. Tuesday's Gone. Preciosa. Tuesday's gone with the wind. And the one I know you all know. Sweet Home Alabama. Excellent song. All right. Number 2. This person was born in 1962. An actor who's been in many, many movies, such as Fast Times at Ridgemont High, Top Gun, Zodiac. Also, he was in Revenge of the Nerds. I love that movie. And he played Goose in Top Gun, in the original one. All right? And last but not least, you may know this guy, because that's his last name. He is the guitarist of the group Queen, but also founder, songwriter, and astrophysicist. I'm not joking here, folks. All right, our birthday boys and girls. Alan Collins, Anthony Edwards, and Brian May. And that's going to bring us right over to our Say What soundbite. This is Brian May from Queen, the astrophysicist. I mean, as if it wasn't cool that he's one of the greatest guitarists ever. He's also an astrophysicist. Like, it's insane. And he says, I take everything like that with a pinch of salt. Because he was being asked about being voted the greatest guitarist. And he goes, I take everything like that with a pinch of salt. No lo tomo muy en serio, no? Really? Because you can't say who's best. No puedes decir quién es el mejor. The nice thing about guitar playing is that everybody's different. Like we said at the beginning of the show, it's like comparing apples and oranges. He says, you can't really rank people. Ponerlos en un ranking. Es un verbo. You can't really rank people. Of course, I've got my favorites too. Claro, yo tengo mis favoritos también. And he goes, that's going to be the next question, I know. Sé que eso va a ser la próxima pregunta. So here he is, the one and only Brian May.
I take everything like that with a pinch of salt, really, because you can't say who's best. The nice thing about guitar playing is that everybody's different. You can't really rank people. You know, of course, I got my favorites too. That's going to be the next question, I know.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the final section. Name that lyric.
Hi, hello, Alberto. I think the song is... No? Sorry, bye.
Name that lyric. Name that lyric. Name that lyric. Name that lyric. Only on the show with no name. The show with no name. The show with no name. Name that lyric. Only on the show with no name. The show with no name. The show with no name. It's name that lyric. Only on the show with no name.
That's right, amigos. It's Name That Lyric. And thank you for another amazing 2 hours together. As always, it's been an absolute pleasure to spend this time with you every day. I don't care how hot it is. You know what? Something I did forget was to get that bucket. But for tomorrow's show, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to soak my feet in ice water and a bucket, and I'm going to make a pina colada. No, I'm not going to do that. I don't think it's a good idea to drink while I'm speaking. Then I have to think. No. I think I know what I'll have. I'll have a mocktail. You know this? Well, mock es como burlarse de, o falso. So a mocktail is un cóctel virgen. A virgin cocktail or a mocktail is something, a non-alcoholic drink. So I can have one. Maybe I'll have a lemonade. Yeah, I love lemonade. Or like I told you yesterday, Arnold Palmer. Can you tell I'm very thirsty? ¿Te das cuenta que tengo mucha sed? All right. Well, folks, thank you again. You guys are awesome. I'm going to dedicate this song to you guys today because it is one of my favorite songs. It's a song called Free Bird, and this song is not for the birds. It's for everybody. It's a song about somebody moving on in life, right? Free Bird. And, well, not just about moving on, but just, being free, being a free bird. And it really is a beautiful song by Leonard Skinner. Let's look at the lyrics. It starts out, if I leave here tomorrow, would you still remember me? For I must be traveling on now, 'cause there's too many places I've got to see. Hay demasiados sitios que tengo que ver. But if I stay here with you, girl, si me quedo aquí contigo, things just wouldn't be the same. And here's the line. 'Cause I'm as free as a bird now. And then there's a guitar solo that will melt your mind, right? It's amazing. Alucinante. So, folks, I'm going to let you go with this awesome song. Thanks again. This is Leonard Skinner and Freebird. Woo-hoo! Let's go. Yeehaw! Leonard Skinner.